Hello, Magnus and Peter. Welcome to the studio. I'm very excited to have you here, and I'm certainly looking forward to discussing this specific topic with you.
Hi Victor, thank you for having us and giving us this opportunity to discuss this topic with you.
I agree with Peter. Thank you for having us.
So today we're going to discuss the globalization in the United States and Donald Trump's political aspect to this topic. But first of all, what is globalization and what does it mean?
Globalization is the integration of economics, industries, markets, cultures and policy making around the world. The OECD defines globalization as the geographic dispersion of industrial and service activities. For example, research and development, sourcing of factor inputs, production and distribution, and the cross-border networking of companies. For example, through joint ventures and the sharing of assets.
Okay, but can you tell us a little bit more about globalization? Maybe some of the main characteristics of globalization.
Of course, one of the main benefits of globalization is greater trade across borders in the goods and services. Furthermore, greater use of outsourcing, increasing spending on capital investment, and high levels of labor migration are all the benefits that also characterizes globalization.
Exciting. Magnus, can you tell us something about the political situation in USA, especially about Donald Trump, since he is the president of the United States?
As you said, the current president of USA is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is from the Republican Party. During the midterm elections in 2018, the Republican Party lost quite a few representatives, which means that today there is a majority of Democrats in the House of Representatives, even though the president is a Republican, which is quite unusual. To give an overview, the House of Representatives consists of 235 Democrats and 199 Republicans. But enough about that. Throughout the whole election campaign, Donald Trump had one clear message: to make America great again. He promised to make America great again by bringing back the American power, as he said.
And how exactly will he bring back this American power and make his famous words, make America great again, into a reality?
He wants to implement this American power and making America great again by primarily starting insourcing the production to America again, and through that accelerate the American economy and bring back the country to its former glory time, as he calls it. In short, Donald Trump wants to cut off the globalization and focus more on America as an individual country.
So if I get this correctly, Donald Trump is against the globalization and the idea of working together with other countries.
Said with other words, he is not a fan of globalization. We reject the ideology of globalism in favor of the ideology of patriotism. So spoke Donald Trump in one of his many speeches. This clearly shows how he is against this globalization, but points his focus towards making a USA an independent, self-supplied nation with a liberal lifestyle.
Peter, as an expert in globalization, what is your thoughts about Trump being against it?
There is, of course, some pros and cons for USA, as Trump is against globalization. It is a con for the middle-class workers that Trump is against globalization. Trump wants more insourcing, which means that he wants the companies to hire employees from USA and not from foreign countries. This also means that the world misses out on some potential opportunities on getting new jobs to the low-wage countries. If Trump is going to insource his production, this also means that Trump's America are getting more opportunities, but if Trump doesn't want to be a part of any kind of global work with NATO, for example, then a potential problem could appear. This would mean that the free world we know today would no longer exist.
How does USA wanting to not cooperate with other countries affect the rest of the world?
Since USA is a superpower, they have a lot of influence on the rest of the world. Therefore, does USA's unwillingness affect the rest of the world negatively, as the rest of the world could take advantage of all the opportunities in USA.
And what about the so-called trade war that Donald Trump is creating against China? Why would he do that, and what is it?
At this topic, Donald Trump has to be very careful, not only for his own safety, but for the country. So far, he has set duties on Chinese imported goods to America. This means that it will be more expensive for the people and businesses of America to import Chinese goods. This has, of course, upset Xi, but he is a little bit more calm than his leader colleague Kim Jong-un. He was also very upset about Trump's politics about trading with Asia and the North Korean war, and therefore he threatens with mass destruction weapons like nuclear bombs and missiles. Donald Trump does this not only to show his power, but also to detach from the globalization and work towards an independent, self-supplied America and weaken the Chinese.
And what about Donald Trump's status in the world and his popularity at the world leaders? Doesn't he have to be careful about pressing the wrong buttons when it comes to Putin, Xi, or Kim Jong-un?
Donald Trump has to be very careful about his next moves, but will he do that? We know that Trump prioritizes being a man of his words, and therefore it is hard to tell his next move, and it will not surprise anyone if he somehow crossed the line.
And now many people talk about the Third World War breaking out. What are your opinions on this?
It's very hard to tell. Some factors talk for it, some against. I can't give you an exact answer at the time, but because I really don't know. Donald Trump has some strong opinions, and so does Kim Jong-un and Xi and Putin. And this could potentially be a dangerous mix of world leaders. If I had to take a guess, I would say that there wasn't a chance of a potential world war. These leaders all may seem crazy, but they are also clever and understand how the system works.
I partly agree. I think there's a good chance of a new world war. If they keep going as they are right now, I think Kim Jong-un's mass destruction weapons could come to use.
And what will the consequences of this globalization be for USA, since Trump doesn't want to be a part of it?
The consequences of globalization for USA will be that they have become less independent. They import goods from other countries, and they are therefore less self-supplied. Additionally, they also export a lot of goods to other countries, which is a benefit to USA from the globalization. This has resulted in economic growth for USA, but Trump wants to change this. He wants USA to be self-supplied and exclude itself from the globalization. Trump's insourcing would mean more jobs for the American people, where the outsourcing followed by the globalization will give the jobs to people in other countries with lower wages.
My last question for both of you today is, how do you think Donald Trump's political opinions affects the globalization in the USA?
Personally, I think Donald Trump's political opinions has affected the globalization in USA hugely. As a former mentioned, Donald Trump said the following during one of his famous speeches: "We reject the ideology of globalism in favor of the ideology of patriotism." I mention this statement again and put a lot of weight on it. This statement because I think it's very powerful and strongly underlines Donald Trump's view on globalization and the kind of ideology he prefers, exactly the patriotism. Donald Trump wants to put America before anything else and only do what he thinks is the best for his country. It can, for example, be seen by the trade war he has started with China by putting trade barriers on export goods to China in form of tax and duties. Look at it as a whole, I think it's hard to say if Donald Trump's political opinions has affected the globalization in USA in a good or a bad way. It is a personal opinion.
As Magnus said, Trump will only do what he thinks is the best thing for his country. Even though this is a positive thing, it can backfire on USA. Trump's trade war have had some consequences for USA. It has affected the USA's export to China negatively, thus it affects the whole economy of USA negatively.
Thank you for coming today. It was very exciting to debate this with you, and hopefully we'll meet soon again.
Thank you for letting us come.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you soon.